Hey guys, it's Parker, and today we're going to be going over all the new weapons in Season 23 and how viable they are in PvP. Now, this is going to be day 6 of my 7-day upload streak. I said I would do a video a day, every single day for this entire week. Now, I uploaded 2 videos yesterday. Obviously, it worked out pretty well because my rocket-powered pistol video did extremely well. Thank you guys for all the love and support on that video. Before we start, I'd also like to shout out my highly anticipated, most hyped video I post every week is my Sunday upload, which is going to be Flawless or Flop, where I hop into solo Trials of Osiris every weekend and see how far I can go without getting a loss. It seems to be the most popular series on my channel. I'll be posting that tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern. I really appreciate all the love and support I've gotten on the video so far. It's only the beginning, and I couldn't do any of this without you guys, so thank you very much. Without further ado, let's get into it. Now, if you were looking for a PvE version of this video, my buddy Lazy KB did a video going over all the weapons in PvE, and he did a really good job. I'm not a PvE player. I know PvP. If you're interested in watching Lazy's PvE version, I'm going to link it down in the description below. I'd also like to mention that if you agree or disagree with anything I say in this video, go ahead and drop a comment. I really enjoy reading all the comments. I love learning new things about weapons that I didn't know before. So let's get into it. We're going to have 38 weapons to go over. Some weapons aren't going to be viable in PvP at all, and we're just going to kind of say, hey, this isn't really a PvP weapon. We're going to go on to the next one. I'm not going to try to make the longest video ever, kind of show you what perk combos to look out for. I know it's a little intimidating when you get a random roll and you're like, is it good? Is it not good? Personally, I like just knowing a couple of perks that I know are good combos to keep that weapon or get rid of it. So we're going to start off with the Dragon's Breath rocket launcher. This is the exotic from the season pass. You know what it is. You've probably got it on already. It's a ton of fun in PvE, but like I said, it's probably not going to be viable in PvP unless you're shooting it at a point. It's real unpredictable. I've only died to it once in all the PvP I've played since this season started. We're going to go with it's a PvE weapon. Next, we're going to be looking at the Supercluster. This is a strand shotgun in the kinetic weapon slot. It's also a pinpoint slug frame. This weapon is probably a PvE weapon, but you could say you get slide shot, fragile focus, that you could use this in PvP. The Dragon's Vengeance perk is really good on these weapons. We're going to go over it a little more detail when it's a weapon that uses it a little better, but as I said, Supercluster, you could probably get away with that combo. I wouldn't really run this over anything else, especially when you have conditional finality in the kinetic slot, but that's just my opinion. We got the double-edged answer. Now this is going to be a PvE sword. Swords in PvP really aren't a thing unless you're using the Black Talon. Same with the Abide the Return. Again, it's just not going to do it for you in PvP. You're going to want to use a grenade launcher or a rocket launcher. The Vouchsafe is probably going to be a PvE weapon as well, but this weapon does have some interesting perks that could be brought into PvP if you really wanted to. And we're going to have third column rapid hit. Precision hits give you stability and reload speed. Precision kills makes reloads a lot quicker. And then you have moving target. All 3 really good PvP perks. In the fourth column, explosive payload's pretty self-explanatory. You do AoE. And the thing about explosive payload is it makes the gun have no damage fall off. So you're doing the max amount of damage from whatever range on that explosive shot. Destabilizing rounds is just a little bit of an explosion once you kill somebody. It gives the volatile to everything around. Now this weapon is a 200 round per minute scout rifle, so you're really not going to see it in PvP at all. Pretty weak. Definitely a PvE weapon, but with those perk combos, you possibly could bring it into PvP and be viable. Next, we're going to be looking at the Undercurrent Adept. This is a grenade launcher, completely a PvE weapon, has really good PvE perks. You're not going to see this thing in PvP at all. Next, we have the Retold Tail Shotgun. They brought this gun back, so it is now a Retold Tail, which is kind of funny to me. This thing does have some good PvP perks. You're going to have quick draw, pulls the weapon out instantly, slide shot that reloads when you slide. It has snapshot that you can pair with full choke to aim in and get a little better of a shot, more range. What I'm looking at is killing wind in the fourth column. Final blows increase mobility, weapon range, and handling for a short duration. I would say that my role that I would really like to have here is quick draw, killing wind. I think that would be pretty cool. It also has the advanced reflexes origin trait. Upon taking damage, quickly guard or aim down sights with a weapon to gain bonus mobility, handling, and charge rate for a short time. That could be pretty good on the shotgun. You get shot first a lot of the time before you're pulling it out. You can get it out with quick draw real quick, pick up that kill. So Retold Tail is probably our first like pretty good PvP weapon that we have this season. The non-adept Undercurrent, same thing, all PvE. Now the Eye of Soul sniper rifle. This is going to be the non-adept version. It's a kinetic slot sniper rifle that's been around forever. It's really strong in PvP. This is going to be one of the most exciting guns to go after if you don't have one. Now there's a couple perk combos that you can do. In the third column, fragile focus is interesting. If you do damage before they hit you, you know, you can take advantage of it. I'm not going to be running fragile at all. I'm not a fan of the perk. It also has moving target, which increases movement speed and target acquisition while aiming down sights. Another decent perk, but probably won't see me using it. I'm a big fan of perpetual motion in the third column. Now, this weapon gains bonus stability, handling, and reload speed while the wielder is in motion. You're going to be in motion a lot. If you're in a high-stakes sniper battle with somebody, you're going to try to be, like, strafing back left and right. So, perpetual motion gets a lot of effectiveness off the stability. Also, if you're moving away from a target while they're pushing you and they start hitting you with shots, you have that bonus stability to be able to get the shot off. Now, Slick Draw is also another interesting perk. You're just going to pull it out a lot faster. It's better if you're going to be like quick scoping. It makes the gun feel a lot cleaner, faster. So that's kind of up to your feel. And most of these weapons are going to be how you feel about them. I'm just giving my opinions of how I've felt about these perks over the last year of playing PvP pretty consistently. In the fourth column, Snapshot Sights is probably exactly what you're going to want. If you have this in the fourth column, it doesn't matter what's in all the other slots. Snapshot's the only thing that matters on this sniper. You get to aim down the sights faster, and sniping just does not feel good when you don't have this perk. So I'll go over the other fourth column perks to be fair, but you're going to want Snapshot. It also has Opening Shot, which is decent. Keep Away is always a good perk, but again, it's not going to outdo Snapshot. Now, Subjunctive is a craftable weapon this season. It's going to be an arc primary, you know, another submachine gun to use, 900 rounds per minute. The thing that kills it is the fourth column doesn't really have a PvP perk at all. You can maybe use Under Pressure, you can maybe use Hipfire Grip, but again, they're just not, like, they're not good perks. So this thing is just not going to compete with your Immortal. It's not going to compete with the Tempest. Fourth column has Swashbuckler, and that's pretty much it. It gains increased damage from melee kills and kills with this weapon. Again, it's not enough to be doing anything special. I want to talk about the Attrition Orbs perk real quick to cover it for all the weapons in the future that have it in the fourth column, because I will not be talking about it again. Dealing sustained damage creates an Orb of Power. I had this perk on my Pulse Rifle video a couple days ago, and it generated 1 orb in 2 games, and they were pretty decent games. So this perk is pretty trash. Do not use it. If you see it, like, yes, it's flashy. It might be better in PvE, but it is not good in PvP. This has the Nano Munitions origin trait. Being near allies slowly builds up a partial emergency ammo refill for the next time this weapon runs out of ammo. Emergency ammo increases the time spent near allies. I don't see this being real good. Maybe if you're playing trials and you're stacked on top of each other, you're gonna have a little more ammo in the mag. But if you're using this, it directly goes against Under Pressure, that you need lower ammo to be doing more damage. So it just kind of ruins the one of the only perks you can use in the third column. So I don't see this thing being very good. Who knows? Maybe it will be. It's all about feel. Maybe the weapon feels really great. I'm not sure. So we're gonna have the Doomed Petitioner. This is a craftable void linear fusion rifle. PvP wise, it has Keep Away and Moving Target. So this could actually be a viable PvP weapon. It is in the heavy slot, which you're gonna have a grenade launcher that's gonna have 3 shots. It's gonna be a lot easier to kill people because it's an AoE. This is gonna be more of a precision shot, but I wouldn't write it off. It is a 3-round burst. I had a lot of fun using that Storm weapon. I can't think if it's Stormbringer or Stormcaller right at this second, but it also has that Dragon's Vengeance perk. So, hey, maybe you want to pull this thing out, kind of spice it up a little bit, have something different on. So now we're looking at the Retrofuturistic. This is going to be the Crucible weapon of the season. Last season was the Tempest, which is the most powerful weapon in the game for a little bit. I think it still rules the meta. I ran into a PK Titan yesterday, and he was still using it, and it's still really good. Now, this thing has perks on perks on perks. You're gonna have a lot of options. I might not be able to cover your favorite perk, but I'll just show you mine because there's so many different options. Now, the first perk I want to look at is the third column, is Dual Loader. Now, Dual Loader is good, but it decreases the reload speed, and it completely goes against One Quiet Moment that gains reload speed. Like, you'll have the extra reload speed to get done, and it's a special weapon, so you're not really going to be reloading all the time in PvP. The only third column perk that I would probably look at is going to be Quick Draw to pull that shotgun out right away. And then fourth column, the only perk I'm looking at is Swashbuckler, because there's really no PvP perks here for a PvP weapon, and it kind of puzzles me a little bit. I don't know what they were thinking. I'm looking at the Deconstruct perk, and I haven't really tested it yet, but using your special weapon to kind of kill a shield is already a thing, and you can pretty much do a good job of it. And a lot of the time when you're breaking a shield, you don't want to fully break it with the special weapon. What you're going to want to do is get it really hurt and then pull out the primary that you're going to be able to follow up with, because if you break the shield in one shot, boom, they're going to shoot you in the face. If you get it real hurt, then you pull out your primary and you break the shield, then you're going to have a good opportunity to pick up that kill. So that's just my opinion. I don't think the Retrofuturistic really lives up to the PvP standard that the Tempest kind of set last season. I could definitely be wrong. Please let me know in the comments if you had really good experience with this thing, and with every weapon. If you want to comment down below and let me know what you're thinking on this stuff, please. It's like my favorite part of the day, reading your comments. It gives me a lot of insight into the game that I didn't really have before, and I think it's really fascinating. So next we're going to be looking at the Crux Termination, and this is a rocket launcher that's definitely going to be a PvE option. I think it's actually pretty good in PvE. It does have quick draw slide shot if you really want to use it in PvP, but I don't really see it. It's got wild card. Final blows with this weapon creates an elemental subjugate at the target's location. Again, that's probably not going to be good, because if you shoot the rocket and you kill somebody, if the teammate's close enough, the rocket's probably just going to kill him. The Riiswalker, or as I like to call it, the Riiswalker. It's going to be a lightweight kinetic shotgun that comes with Iron Banner, and it's got a little bit of a refresh perk pool. Now, I've never been a fan of this thing. I see people using it all the time, and I mean, I can see why. It's got some interesting perks. It's got slick draw, slide shot to reload on slide. Now in the fourth column, I'm going to be looking at Iron Reach, Fragile Focus, and Opening Shot. All three really good perks, all increasing range on the weapon. So Iron Reach is going to increase it by 20, but you lose 30 stability. Stability on a shotgun is a little bit important because you're going to get flinch real high when you get shot. I like to stay real firm. Fragile Focus only adds 20 range as well, but only when your shield's up. So it does the same thing without losing the stability as long as your shield's up. And then Opening Shot just gives you 25 more range just for being the first shot. This is by far going to be the best perk out of the three, but only for one of the two shots. So you're kind of making a decision there as well. The Origin trait, Skulking Wolf. While at low health, Guardian Final Blows with this weapon enhance the radar. Again, it's like one of those niche perks that maybe it helps you one time out of 10, but that one time is worth having. I think it's kind of a waste of an Origin perk on Iron Banner in my opinion. Now we're going to be talking about the Twilight Oath. The Twilight Oath is a rapid fire solar weapon. I kind of wrote it off as a PvE only weapon, but after looking at the perks, I was wrong. It's got Opening Shot, Killing Wind, and then over in the fourth column, it's got Snapshot. So you really have one of the best perk combos of all time right here. Opening Shot, Snapshot sights right on this weapon. So this is going to be a viable PvP weapon. It's a rapid fire frame, so you're going to get shot off real easy. If you get hit, you're going to flinch like crazy. But those perks right there make it absolutely crazy. And then upon taking damage from the target, you quickly guard or aim down sights with this weapon with the advanced reflexes. This thing's going to kind of be really cool, because if you get shot by somebody, advanced reflexes and snapshot, you're going to be zooming in extremely quickly. I can maybe see some clutch plays where you're getting shot and all of a sudden you quick scope them across the map. That's probably going to be possible with this thing. I'm not saying it's likely, but this is one of those weapons that's surprising me the most. I wrote it off right away when I saw it, but realistically, this could be a pretty good weapon. We got the Uzume RR4 Adept. Now, this weapon was ARC before, I believe. I don't know why they changed it. Unless I'm wrong, let me know down below. But it's a solar special sniper that you get from the Nightfall. Now this one's also interesting. It's going to have Snapshot in the third column. This is the only viable PvP perk in the third column. Now your fourth column, you can go Incandescent. You can kind of have a mini Cloud Strike where you're going to be doing that incandescent damage. Or you can go Explosive Payload, kind of do the same thing. I don't think it's very good, but any sniper that has Snapshot in the third column makes it a pretty decent sniper. I also think it has a pretty cool feel. I've only used it a couple times and I've never used the Adept version, but an adaptive frame sniper Snapshot, always going to be a decent option. Now we're looking at the Breakneck auto rifle, and I just made a video about this yesterday. Didn't get a ton of views compared to my rocket pistol video, so you might not have seen it, but if you want to go check it out, it looks like the Galil from Black Ops 1 wrapped in bacon. If you think I'm crazy, go look at it in game, you'll know what I'm talking about. Now this weapon has amazing PvP perks. This is the weapon I was most excited about this season. I got a pretty decent roll that I showed off yesterday, but there's some other roles that I'm going to be hunting for, and this gun wins a lot of 1v1s. When I'm in a 1v1 situation with a hand cannon, or someone's pushing me real hard with a shotgun, and I was winning a lot of those 1v1s. Now, the perk combo I showed off yesterday was going to be Encore Onslaught, which if you're not aware, Encore is going to be giving you bonus stability, range, and accuracy when you're getting final blows with this weapon, and then Onslaught gives you an increased fire rate for final blows. So once I got that first kill, it turned into kind of a monster, but getting that first kill was, you know, tedious at times. Now, the other perks I would recommend is dynamic sway reduction for sure, because this thing has a weird recoil pattern. The longer you're holding down, the better the recoil is going to be. It's going to be a lot more accurate once you get down there with the sustained fire. Keep way in the third column is always a great option. With this weapon, that 10 range you get from being outside 15 meters is huge. You're going to need it for a lot of the 1v1s you're going to be fighting. I think it's going to be really good. The other perk that I'll call out is the Eye of the Storm. This weapon becomes more accurate, boosts handling as your health gets lower. I think it's going to be pretty good because auto rifles are always losing health in battles. They're going to be dueling somebody, and, you know, I just think it's going to be a good perk. Now, the fourth column, the most interesting is Onslaught for sure, because getting that first kill with maybe the Dynamic Sway or Keep Away is going to give you a huge buff. Now, the problem with this perk is that it only gives you 2 seconds after the first kill. A lot of other weapon perks give you like 5, 6, 7 seconds. This gives you 2. You don't have a ton of time to get that second kill. They kind of got to be pushing at the same time. Not very good. It is interesting, though. I did get a couple of kill pickups in yesterday's gameplay just because of this perk, so I can't completely write it off. The other 2 perks that are really good in this column are Tap the Trigger, which is going to be pretty good with Dynamic Sway or Keep Away. Moving Target is definitely one of the better perks for auto rifle PvP. Now we're looking at the Imperative. It's going to be a kinetic scout rifle that's craftable this season. It's going to be a high impact, so it's a 150, which are notoriously not so bad at PvP. I'm kind of excited for this thing because it is craftable. Third column, you're going to have Keep Away, No Distractions, Rapid Hit, all 3 really good perks. Keep Away, of course, I'm going to talk about it every single gun I see it on. I love this perk. I think it's one of the best perks they've ever added. No Distractions is what I use on my hung jury. It's also a really great perk. You never get shot off, which is really good in scout rifle battles because you flinch a lot against hand cannons. And then Rapid Hit, hitting precision hits, increases stability and reload speed. Kind of the same thing where if you're hitting those shots, it's kind of giving you a no distractions, but you got to hit some bullets first. And then the fourth column, opening shot, it only helps on the first shot, but it does help. And then explosive payload is probably what you're going to be wanting to do. It's going to flinch opponents off a lot better. It also gives the no damage fall off, which with a scout rifle, you're going to be in long range engagements all the time, so this is actually really helpful. My god roll would probably be Keep Away, explosive payload. It also gets the nano munitions, which if you don't remember from the submachine gun, it refills an emergency mag. Again, I don't see the use of it. Yes, if you get a kill after you ran out of bullets and that saves you, you're going to be like, wow, this is the best perk in the game. But until then, I think it's pretty mid. Now we're looking at the Eye of Soul Adept, which is by far the #1 weapon I'm chasing this season. It's going to be the Trials of Osiris weapon one of these weeks, and when it is, I presume that the player count is going to go way up. This is one of the best weapons in the game for feel. It's in the kinetic slot. You can use your Igneous Hammer or whatever other special weapon you want to use in the secondary slot if you're a Vex Mythic class guy or a Sunshot guy or girly. I don't discriminate. Now this thing's going to get Fragile Focus, Moving Target, Perpetual Motion, Slick Draw, kind of all the same stuff that the non-adept version got, but obviously over here it's going to be adept, so I think you get a couple more stats. You also get to put on an adept mod, which makes it a lot better. And then fourth column, again, you're going to want snapshot. Like, yeah, there's keep away, there's opening shot. Snapshot is what you want on this weapon, and really, if you get any roll and you see snapshot on it, that's going to be a viable Eye of Soul roll. It doesn't matter what anything else is, as long as it has snapshot. This thing's obviously going to be so cool. I'm so excited to get my hands on it. Now we got the Sleepless rocket launcher. This is going to be a Dreaming City weapon that was reprised. I always thought it looked really cool. It's going to have Slick Draw, which is a pretty good perk for PvP. It's also going to have Chain Reaction. You know, honestly, it's really not that bad of a PvP role. This is probably going to be a PvE weapon, if anything. It might be a throwaway weapon this season, but you know, pulling out the weapon a lot faster. Chain Reaction, if you didn't know, final blows of this weapon creates a big damage explosion. It really has some range, so you might be able to pick up the second guy that you didn't get from the initial shot with it. So I'm going to put it as a decent PvP weapon. Now we're looking at the Lethal Abundance. This is the new Iron Banner auto rifle that I am extremely excited for. I know I said that I was most hyped for the Eye of Soul Adept, but I've used the Eye of Soul before, so I'm going to knock that down just one peg. I am extremely excited to get my hands on the Lethal Abundance. I am an auto rifle guy. These are my favorite weapons in the game. It's going to be a Strand auto rifle, which Rufus is my #1 weapon. I love the Rufus. Necrochasm is going to be a #2, so my 1 and 2 are auto rifles. Now this thing gets so many cool PvP perks. Like I said in my Iron Banner video, give me something to go grind Iron Banner or I will not play the game mode. And they did it. They gave me this auto rifle. It looks pretty cool. In the first column, we're going to have 4 perks we're going to talk about. Possibly 5 if you're on Hunter. First, the Enlightened Action. Dealing damage increases reload speed and handling. It's nice to have a passive perk like this. You're just going to get bonus reload speed and handling for dealing damage. Thank you very much. Keep Away, more range. I've already really talked about it, but on an auto rifle, Keep Away feels so good. I'm so excited for this weapon. Dynamic Sway Reduction, another great option for this thing. It's going to have 32 in the mag, so a little low for the Dynamic Sway. It's a 360 round per minute, so you're not going to be getting all those shots off very fast. So this is probably lower on the list than others, but I still think it's a great perk. And then Elemental Capacitor, really depends on what subclass you like maining. I main Void, so it gives an extra 20 stability for free. I'd be pretty good. As long as you're not on Solar or Strand, hand, I think this is going to be a really good perk as well. And then, as I said, the 5th perk, if you're on Hunter, is Slice. I really didn't like this thing on Titan. Somebody in my comment section, thank you very much, said that this is really good on Hunter because Hunter dodge is so frequent compared to the others. And you're able to get a shot off, make it so the enemy does less damage, and you're going to be winning gunfights because of that. Now, in the 4th column with this thing, you're going to have Target Lock, which has always been a really great perk, even on auto rifles. Maybe a little less effective on a 360 round per minute, but still going to be pretty good. You have Tap the Trigger, which, again, is a really good perk on auto rifles. You're going to get that first shot having way more stability. It's just going to be another great perk. Then we're going to switch on the Onslaught, getting that rate of fire bonus. Now, Onslaught on the Breakneck only did so well. But honestly, if I get a keep away Onslaught roll, I think it might be one of my favorite weapons in the game. And then, of course, you still have the Skulking Wolf. It's kind of a throwaway. I wish it was a little better for, you know, the competitive PvP. Origin trait would be a little better for PvP, but it is what it is. Belisarius-D. Now, I made a video on this weapon already a couple of days ago. It got a little bit of backlash. People were saying that I didn't show it off correctly or that it's better than what I thought. You know, I'm going to double down and stick by it. 19 zoom really makes this weapon feel very out of the meta. It makes it feel like it's from back in the day, not really up to date with the current meta, which is submachine guns. Now, I showed off the Slice kill clip roll. Again, Slice isn't going to be as good without the Hunter, so we're going to say that's a meh. But Rapid Hit, Elemental Capacitor, Eye of the Storm, Keep Away, all great perks for the 3rd column. I'm not really going to go over them again because I've gone over them so many times. Then 4th column, you got Moving Target and Head Seeker and Zen Moment. Now, I think the best god roll for this weapon is going to be Keep Away, Head Seeker. Now, I'm not familiar with the stock options because, one, no other weapons really have this. But just from looking at it, Hand Laid looks like it would be good. Fitted looks like it would be good. And sure, Composite Stock looks like it would be good. This weapon's not really good at PvP. I wish it was better, being the competitive weapon and all, but I'm going to be honest with you guys. I don't want to waste your time. I just don't think it's that great. Now we're looking at the Incisor Adept. This is going to be the Trials of Osiris Strand Trace Rifle this season. It's going to be an adaptive frame, and really, I have no idea how good it's going to be. Trace rifles are one of those weapons that some people make look so good, and some people can't do anything with them. And I don't even know how this is going to affect their perk pool. I don't even want to start to act like I know what I'm doing with this thing. I'm hoping to get one soon from Trials and then kind of be able to show it off and figure it out for myself what's good or not. Initially, I'm going to think Dynamic Sway would be good because you're rapidly shooting 98 shots. And by the time you get to the end, it's probably going to be pretty accurate. Perpetual Motion, because, you know, it's just perpetual motion. You're moving around, you're getting bonus stability. You're always going to be like jumping around with trace rifles, making it hard to hit you while you're peppering them. And then Zen Moment as well. You're going to be getting hit with damage, gives you less recoil and flinch. Now in the 4th column, again, I'm not going to pretend like I know what's good on a trace rifle because I don't use them at all, but I gotta say Target Lock's probably pretty good. Tap the Trigger would probably be pretty good. And maybe Kill and Tally. I don't know. It sounds like a PvE perk, but I've never really used it, so hey, maybe it's good. I'm really excited to get my hands on this thing just to see how good it is, but I'm usually not a fan of trace rifles, so it is what it is. This is the regular Uzume. I'm not really going to go into detail because we already went over the Adept version, but like I said, Snapshot, Explosive Payload, or Incandescent is really the options you're going to want to go after. Now the Tigerspite. I'm hearing really good things about this kinetic auto on Twitter. It's a 450 round per minute. Recoil direction could be better. It looks a lot like the Horsley's. But I'm hearing good things, and I'm an auto rifle guy, so I'm excited to get my hands on it. The only thing that holds me back is there's not really a 4th column perk that I would really like on this thing other than Eye of Soul. If you don't have Eye of Soul on this thing, it's probably not going to be very good. 3rd column, you can go Moving Target, Fragile Focus, Overflow, or Outlaw. Again, it's not really the best perk pool in the game. I think it's just more of it feels really good. Outlaw Kill Clip is one of those OG combos that people seem to really love. So you can throw that on there and kind of have a pub stomping weapon. Probably not going to be very good in 3v3s, but until I get one, I probably shouldn't comment on it because I do love auto rifles, and I think this one might be pretty good. Now we're going to be looking at the Scatter Signal. This thing is a Strand Fusion Rifle. Is it going to be good in PvP? It is going to be a rapid fire fusion rifle, so probably not very good in PvP, but the Deconstruct perk is pretty interesting with this thing because you're going to be destroying barricades in one shot every time, and you're a rapid fire, so you could destroy the barricade and kill the guy behind it in 2 shots very quickly. Perpetual Motion, Surplus, Enlightened Action are going to be interesting on this thing for me. You could also make an argument for Slice if you're a hunter. And then over in the third column, you could definitely make a case for Agio or Kickstarter, or you can put Deconstruct on twice. I'm not really sure why it has it twice in the perk pool, but it is what it is. And then it has that Dragon's Vengeance perk. When your ally dies, you go down the critical health, your magazine refills, and gain bonus range, charge rate, and handling. That's going to be pretty good in trials if your teammate dies next to you and all of a sudden you're shooting a lot quicker with the rapid fire. I mean, that shot's got to come out instant. I want to see some testing on this thing. I don't have one yet, but hopefully I get one soon because that's actually pretty interesting. I didn't know that, I didn't realize that this perk gave you bonus charge rate. Now, the Scalar potential is probably one of the best feeling weapons that I've used in a long time. It's going to be a rapid fire arc pulse rifle, so it's going to be just like the Oversoul or the Horus Lease or some of the other weapons from the past that really performed extremely well. And I'll tell you why this thing is going to be so good. Keep Way, third column, it's all you need. Get Keep Way on, and you're going to pair that with Headseeker. There's really no other roles that interest me at all, but Keep Way, Headseeker, this is craftable, so you can make them both enhanced, and then have that Dragon's Vengeance perk where you get bonus range and handling, refill of the mag if somebody dies next to you. This thing's going to be a trials monster. I'm very excited to get my hands on it. This is one of my most hyped craftable weapons this season. I'll probably have it pretty soon within the first 2 weeks, so I'll probably be playing with it a lot more, and I'll be able to hype it up or kind of kill it down a little more if it's not as good as what I'm thinking. But from initial testing, the sight is just so clean. It reminds me of a Vigilance wing sight, just really solid. Now we're looking at the Optative Void hand cannon. This is also going to be craftable, but it's a 180 hand cannon. So just like the Word of Crota, it might feel good, but it's just not going to be viable. It takes 4 shots to the head to get a kill. You're going to have Rapid Hit, Keep Way in the third column, probably my 2 favorite perks for this thing in PvP. And then it's going to have Zen Moment in the fourth column. Nothing really else interests me over here. It's going to have that nanny munitions, giving you the bonus emergency mag if somebody dies. Just not really great. It's a craftable, so you can get a God Roll, you can get enhanced, whatever perks you want. But again, I think this is probably going to be a PvE weapon. Now we got the Wishkeeper Bow, which is going to be the bow from an exotic mission coming up later this season. I have no way of telling you if it's going to be good or not. I don't know. Getting precision hits with this build is going to make it so people get tangled. Like, that sounds incredible for PvP. It's going to be extremely annoying in the face if it's really that good. I'm sure they're going to balance it pretty heavily and probably make it trash, but if it's not, yeah, I can see this thing being pretty good. Especially if you could shoot out a bolt and it hits the guy and then it suspends all his teammates. Like, yeah, this thing's going to be a monster in PvP. It's also craftable, so you're going to be able to keep the weapon level and kind of get more personal with it. I always appreciate that, but maybe you don't. But has potential to be an absolute game changer. Every single match might have 3 of them. We'll see. Now, I'm going to butcher the name of this thing, the Adhortative. I hope that was somewhat right. It's going to be a craftable solar pulse rifle, a 390 round per minute. And it honestly doesn't have a single perk in the third column that I would use. So this gun's already out for me in PvP. It has Headseeker and Moving Target in the fourth column. I wish Moving Target was over in the third column so it just had some type of role. It's craftable. It's a pulse rifle. It looks like it has the same design as the No Time to Explain, but it's all dirty. I think that's pretty cool. I'm not usually a fan of reskinned weapons, but when you kind of put debris on it and whatnot, I don't know. I kind of like it. If it had a third column perk, it would be a lot better. This is not going to be a weapon you want to use in PvP. The Chivalric Fire. Now, this is going to be the ritual weapon for this season. You're going to get it from doing Vanguard, Crucible, and Gambit playlists. Getting it leveled up, you're going to get one. This is a PvE weapon completely. You should not be using this in PvP unless you just want to look edgy. Now, this is another weapon that I'm extremely hyped for. I know it seems like every single auto rifle, I'm like, oh man, I'm so hyped for this. But really, the auto rifles were spicy this season. Usually, auto rifles are not as good as this. But this is going to be a world drop weapon. It's a Void 600 round per minute auto rifle. It's going to have a good bit of recoil, but I've seen videos talk about how really it's pretty controllable. It's going to have dynamic sway in the third column, which is, again, really good for weapons that have a higher magazine size. 41 in the mag is enough for that to be pretty effective. And then the fourth column, Onslaught. And this is really the only role I would recommend hunting. If you see these 2 perks together, you've probably got a pretty decent role. You're going to have that dynamic sway and Onslaught. Could be an absolute beast. It also gets that wild card trait, which, again, I don't think is extremely effective. It just drops down a little explosive if you get a kill. Maybe you get a play if they're on the point or something, but other than that, don't think it's very good. So keep an eye out. It's going to be a world drop, so you'll probably get a few of them over the season. If you see Dynamic Sway over here, give it a chance. Without Dynamic Sway, it's going to be more of a PvE weapon. We're getting down to the final weapons. I can't scroll down any longer. We're going to be looking at the Lethophobia Sorry, I'm having a little issue pronouncing that word. This is going to be a bow. Again, I can't really explain if a bow is good or not. I don't use bows. I have a few rolls of this thing. We're going to have the successful warm-up is the best third column perk. In the fourth column, I really don't see anything other than explosive head that I would want to take a look at. And again, it has that Dragon's Vengeance perk. A lot of bonuses. I don't know how it's going to refill the mag. Maybe it just puts the arrow back in. I'm not quite sure how that's going to work. Hey, might be a pretty decent PvP weapon. I haven't seen it yet, which makes me think it's not, but I'm not going to write it off yet. Now we have the Waking Visual, which is going to be on 140 round per minute hand cannon. It's going to be one of those Dreaming City weapons that got reprised. It's got rapid hit third column. Rangefinder is kind of a dead perk now, but it's there. Outlaw, Perpetual Motion. You're probably going to want Perpetual Motion or Rapid Hit on the third column. And then fourth column, you're going to want Opening Shot. That's about it. This could be a pretty decent PvP weapon. I'm not sure yet. We'll see what happens. I would say that probably not. There's going to be better energy slot, hand cannons, Igneous Hammer. Really anything that tries to take its spot's got to be pretty good because that gun feels so nasty. Now we're looking at the Parabellum, which is going to be the solar primary from Legendary Engrams this season. This thing's kind of a wild factor for me. It's got Enlightened Action that gives you the reload speed and handling for getting kills. And then the fourth column, it's got Dynamic Sway. So this could be a submachine gun that shakes up the meta a little bit. I wouldn't be too worried about it. I've seen people talk about how this was their like comp stomping weapon, which it's 900 rounds per minute. Maybe you put it on a PK Titan, and then it does have field tests where defeating targets and dealing damage with this weapon gives it range, stability, handling, and reload speed. One of the better origin perks in the game. So maybe it is really a comp stomping weapon. You're definitely going to want Dynamic in the fourth column and probably Enlightened in the third column. The Appetence is a trace rifle. It's going to be stasis, and it's going to be craftable this season. Again, I don't really know trace rifles. I won't waste your time too much on this. Probably Enlightened Action. Maybe Headstone if you're trying to do some stasis plays. There's really no other fourth column perk that really speaks to me. It gets that Dragon's Vengeance origin trait, so it's going to be pretty good for that. But overall, probably a PvP weapon on this one. I'm sorry, I said PvP weapon. I meant PvE weapon on the trace rifle. Now we're looking at the new machine gun. Now, I'm having bad history with this thing because it's going to be a random drop this season, and I got one that had triple tap onslaught, and I threw it away. I dismantled it, didn't even think about it. I'm a little upset. This is definitely going to be a PvE weapon with the perk pool. You can go check out that other video that I linked if you want to see how good it is in PvE, but definitely not a PvP weapon. And then we're going to end with the non-adept version of the Incisor. Again, I don't want to pretend that I know. Looks like some pretty decent PvP perks, but again, we're going to just go with dynamic and target lock. Pretty basic, but gets the job done real well. So now that we finished with those 38 weapons, the only weapons that I can think of are the new dungeon weapons that aren't on D2 Foundry yet. Now, the rocket-powered pistol I did a video on yesterday, it absolutely blew up. Thank you guys so much for all the love and support on that video. It got 1,000 views in the first hour, which was crazy. It blew out my second best video. The second most amount of views I got in 1 hour was 92 views. So we 10x'd that and some. Thank you guys so much. That weapon's pretty decent at PvP. I wouldn't say it's like meta-defining yet. Maybe if we find out there's a different role that goes crazy, but I thought it was fun flying around with the little rocket-powered pistol. I thought it was unique. I'm really happy Bungie kind of experimented and took it upon themselves to kind of innovate something new. I really appreciate it. There's also going to be the bow, and I apologize if I'm forgetting anything because this is coming off the top of my head. I got about 4 rolls of the bow yesterday. I brought it in the PvP, and I didn't think it was very good. I don't know what the best perk combos are going to be for the thing. As I said, I don't have it in front of me. It looks pretty cool, though. There's also the sniper rifle. The sniper rifle really depends if it gets snapshot. I don't know if it does or not, but I'm going to say that's what that depends on. And I want to say there's one more weapon that I can't think of. Oh, the sword. Yeah, the sword's going to be PvE. Most swords are going to be PvE unless it's Eager Edge or you're using the Black Talon Exotic, which shoots out a projectile. Like I said, if you made it this far in the video, I really appreciate you. A little bit of a different video than I usually do. I just wanted to make sure that somebody was covering like how the weapons are in PvP. I know a lot of people do PvE, but I thought I would put it out there. Thank you guys so much for watching. Comment down below what your favorite weapon of the season is. Thank you guys so much. I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.